Testing 1, 2.
Goes back. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Before we
Well, Patrick told you my name, Reverend Waddell. I was the senior minister just up the street at Catonsville United Methodist Church for 21 years before retiring a few years ago. But I tell you who I am and where I'm from, knowing very well that it's not important. It's not important today because I know that all of you have gathered to celebrate a wonderful life, to celebrate and add your benediction to the life of Makenna Noelle Therese Booth. Let us come together now, acknowledging this terrible human loss, but drawing strength from each other and from the love that just fills this room. It's so good to be here to remember Makenna. Remembering is so very important. Looking to each other, looking to the God who created the world that Makenna loved to be in. I know I'm told she loved to be outdoors and in nature. Psalm 95 says, "It is God that holds the depths of the earth, from the mighty mountains to the ocean itself. God formed the trees and the forests." So let us come now before that God, for we are the people that God watches over, the flock that is under God's care. So not only are we under God's care, but we believe Makenna is as well. You know, this is my funeral suit. I only wear this at funerals. It looks like it doesn't. It's all black. And, when I come home, one of my daughters or my wife will see me and they'll just say, "Oh, how was the funeral?" And I'll tell them, "Well, it was a good one or it was really a bad one." So what makes a funeral a good funeral, if there is such a thing, or a funeral a bad funeral? Well, it's not the flowers, even though there's beautiful flowers here. It's not who attends. It's not the minister. It's all about the person being remembered. See, I know scriptures and about heaven and hymns and prayers, but I try to tell people all the time, we're all writing our own funeral service every day we live because they are such times of remembering. And so it's Makenna that has really written this service for herself, not on a computer or on paper, but on your hearts, all of you that know and love her. I'm going to read a tribute from her grandmother Nancy and grandfather Howard and her Aunt Kathy. And then I have a couple people that I have on a list to speak, her mom and I think it's her Aunt Leah. And then after they're finished, if any of you would like to come up here and share some memories or thoughts, you'll be welcome to do that. Or you could just speak from where you're sitting if you just stand up so we can hear you. But let me read what Nancy and Howard and Kathy wrote. They said, "In this hour of tears and sadness, We all sit and dwell on memories. Memories of the little blonde with blue eyes that sparkled even in gray skies. We recall her love of animals. There wasn't a living thing she didn't want as a pet. She never met a bug she didn't love. Makenna loved to explore and found beauty in pretty much everything she saw. As she grew, so did her talents. She excelled in her theatrical performance in elementary school as well as the concerts. I'll always remember many times watching the swim and dive meets. She had an artistic ability that was well beyond her years. Even though it's easy to sit and wonder what could have been, that is not what she would have wanted. She would want us to remember the happy and fun times. Makenna, my hope is that you are happy and exploring your heavenly home. You will always have a special place in our hearts. Love you and miss you, Grandma, Grandpa, and Aunt Kathy. And Anastasia, I'll ask you to come up here and take as long as you like.
Hi, everyone. Looking around this room, I see so many people that just love Makenna, love our family, and I'm so happy that you all came. Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. Makenna, my sweet, beautiful, dear, beloved girl, you had a voracious appetite for life. Those who love you watched as you dove headfirst into every new activity, new food, new experience, with zeal and verve. Whether that be Mom dragging you to kayaking or concerts, Dad chauffeuring you to the mall, much to his chagrin, or your sister dragging you to the woods for a hike. Even your brothers arguing the merits of new music or anime. You did these things not only because you love us and we loved you, but you did them because you would never turn down an opportunity to experience something new. That was your personality. You loved nature most of all, as your fondness for insects and frogs was apparent every summer at the pool or at Grandma and Grandpa's house in the woods. You loved all things furry, as shown when Grandma Terry and Grandpa Jack finally relented and would let you pet Cece even after she nipped you. When coffee and cream came into your lives, you'd already grown perfectly accustomed to being around furry friends constantly. They were your source of support. Tree climbing was your favorite activity as a child, and that continued with your hikes and dalliances in the backyard woods. I always knew that if I couldn't find Makenna, all I needed to do was look in the woods, which was both endearing and terrifying at the same time. You realized your passions early in life, with a sketchbook and charcoal pencils always at the ready. You focused and dedicated your talent as you built this gorgeous portfolio of your art. Strangers would often look over your shoulder at whatever you were working on, with awe and amazement at your limitless talent. Your friends and family loved celebrating your artwork, and you inspired us all. We will be forever grateful that you graced us with your talents. I would swear you came out of the womb slurping noodles. Ramen was her favorite food in the whole world. No matter which cuisine I asked you to try, you devoured anything with fervor. You loved music and started singing early, and that continued in school. Gardenia, your electric guitar, was one of your most prized possessions. Your love of playing music was often heard throughout the house as the noise level increased. You began writing poetry so early in life, and that poetry came to you as easily as breathing. You were so gifted in music and poetry that your teachers always encouraged you to keep writing and keep singing. I loved finding an odd poem strewn about the house, whether recent or from years ago, and seeing you pour your heart and soul into each and every line. reflecting your mood and thoughts at the time, no matter how buoyant or how dark. Makenna, my love, my sweet, my heart, I will always remember your beauty, inside and out, because you are one of the 4 beautiful creatures I've ever seen. You are leaving us too soon, baby girl. We will always miss you, but remember all of these things about you with fondness, because you brought such light into our lives. I know that Grandma Terry is holding you tightly, as she did while you both were here.
Thank you. Anastasia, beautiful. All right. Aunt Leah, wherever you are there. Yes, hard to follow that, isn't it?
I have to say, for those of you who know us, I know my family, know my sister, know I. My sister's amazing, like, right? She plans everything. She has everything to a T. I can't do that. I'm not as good at that. And I've been trying for 2 weeks to write this speech and to talk to you guys and to talk to her. And every single time I get about 2 sentences in and I lose it. Everything my sister said is 100% how we all feel. The only thing that I can say differently from my heart is that from the time Makenna was born, again, guys, no, I'm speaking from my heart. I didn't plan anything, so it's coming from my head. From the time that little baby girl was born, I was there, and I held her in the hospital, and I just had this strange feeling. I'm like, my God, she's like my soulmate. Like, she's so much like me. And every time she got older, it became more and more and more true. That little girl was just like me. She was a right-brained. I love you, Anna. I love you, Steve. I love you, John. You guys are all left-brain people. It's so hard to understand a right-brain person. But her and I got each other. We got each other. We understood, right? The way we felt, the way we think, our feelings, we held our emotions on our sleeve. Everything we said, everything we did was out of love and out of passion, and we just put it forward. And that was Makenna. I would be in front of her at the age of 3 or 4 years old, and she would say something to me, and it was exactly how I thought. And it was crazy because I'm like, how can this little creature think and feel the way I do at such a young age? But that was Makenna. She was the most brilliant, most artistic, most talented kids I've ever known at her age. And I just know that she has better things to come. And she's with my mom, who loves her dearly, always has. And I thank you all so much for being here, for sharing in our grief as a family, for sharing her life, for sharing her love of nature, for sharing her love of life. Thank you all so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that's my whole list. Is there anybody else that would like to come up here and say a word, or 2 or 3? Oh, good. Come right up. Come up.
Hi, I'm her sister. Me and Makenna were very close, and I would just wanted to remind you all, Makenna was a pagan, and she also believed in reincarnation. So whenever you speak of her that way, I feel like it was disrespecting her. So just a friendly reminder. Makenna, her favorite song was by Pierce the Veil. I forgot what song it was. I'll find it eventually. She also liked Nirvana, all that. Her favorite movie was The Princess Bride. And yeah, she did like nature. Her favorite flowers were gardenias, after her guitar. That's what she named her guitar after. And she put mushrooms on it, and it was white, like gardenias. It was I think it's an electric guitar. And then she also had a camera. It was red, and it had a flower on it. I think it was a rose. Not really sure what flower it was named after. But yeah. And Makenna's favorite activity was definitely drawing. She kind of lost some of that passion a little later, but she still had it, and she was really good at it, actually. Her favorite color was red and green. Makenna loved dyeing her hair, and she even taught me how to do it. Makenna also liked fashion a lot and makeup. She had a lot of it, actually. And Makenna she actually liked a lot of different clothing, and she was really weird that way. Because she didn't know really what she was going to wear until, she picked it out for an occasion. She loved the dark, and she didn't like people all that very much. I'm pretty sure she had anxiety. Makenna was rude at times, but I think that was only because I'm her sister. She was very sarcastic and soft-toned, more like. And she liked people, but only from distance. That's why online dating worked so much for her. She always found people that connected with her, even if they weren't the best people. Although I like to say we accept the love we think we deserve, so that just means she was hurting on the inside, and I also know that. Because it was apparent from when she was around my age that was what was happening. Yeah. I'm done.
All right. Thank you. Yeah. Right. Good job. Those were tough to follow. Anybody else want to say anything? Oh, good. Come on.
Very hard to follow. I'm Martin Engelhardt. We live in the neighborhood. We moved there in about 2017, and I would say I'm here with my wife Lori that there was a time period from July 2017 through 2018 where instead of having 2 kids, it felt like we were having 3 kids. Steve and Anastasia, you always knew where to come in case Makenna was not in the woods, because she was pretty much at our house, and I wanted to share at least one story that I will never forget, and it was so scary, but I think it will give you an idea kind of like what kind of person Makenna was other than what we've already heard. And this is a story that was in the summer, and it starts by me coming home from work, so it was probably like, I don't know, hopefully an early day, like 5 o'clock or so, and I see how my daughter, Elise, they were 10 at that point, and Makenna, and Ben, my son, and Grayson, who's I don't think here today, another good friend around that time, were all around our mailbox at the front. We were at the end of the court, so it's like a pizza lot kind of a thing, right? And they're like, Dr. Engelhardt, look at this. And then Makenna is like, we found a snake, and I think she's pregnant. So here I am. It's like, okay, I look at it, and I'm not good with animal recognition, but this was not a garden snake, okay? This had very typical patterns that you would see on a copperhead, which I didn't know at that point. We came from the Pikesville area that they are really kind of endemic here. And we have a pool in the back, so it's obvious that there would be lots of snakes around. And I've seen dozens since then. But this was the snake, and I was like, okay, guys, all step back, right? Let me get a stick or a shovel or something like that, and I was going to scoop it up and put it in a box. And so I ran to the shed in the back and got the shovel, and as I'm coming back, here they are. Makenna had gotten a box that was from the recycling, had somehow, with a stick that she found in the yard, maneuvered the snake into the box and was going to bring it back. And the snake, I don't think, was pregnant. I mean, maybe she was, but she probably it was digesting a big meal. And, and fortunately, that's why she wasn't hungry for children. So that's just sort of like the love for animals and the way to communicate with her. And Anna, I believe, yes, she is around, just in a different form, whether that's a bird flying over us or a snake slithering through the backyard, or a rock in the Patapsco State Park. That's really where she is, and I hope she's happy there. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Wow. Anybody else? Oh, good. Right up.
Hi, I'm Veronica Valentine. I was Makenna's counselor, and I'm also Mason and Noah's counselor. And I only got to see Makenna twice because she worked very closely with our ALTED staff who are here. And both times that she came down, we connected like right away. And, just her spirit, her energy was just infectious, and I just love that about her. I come today, I just wanted to bring you a box of cards that we have collected from students and from staff. Some are for the families, some are for the boys, and so I just wanted to make sure that I gave it to you. I searched high and low for a box that I think that Makenna would approve of. A lot of them had like flowers and things. I was like, no, that's not quite Makenna. So I tried to get one that was representative of who she was. So I just wanted to share this with you and just let you know I'm just very, very sorry for your loss, and we're all feeling it at Mount Everett.
Anybody else? Well, for everyone else, I just want to say that actions do speak louder than words. People don't like going to funerals, I know that, but when you heard this would be the hour, the day, the place that people were going to come together to remember Makenna, you rearranged your schedule, got off work, left school, whatever you had to do just so you could be here. And that speaks volumes. And if you think of anything else that you want to say that didn't get a chance to say, just raise your hand. But please, no more snake stories. I'm scared to death of snakes. She would have thought I was such a wimpy guy. I know. I'm trying to be careful. I always like to speak after I hear people talk, because it either makes it really easy for me or it makes it really hard for me. And you've made it easy for me, I have to say, because you're so candid and so honest. I have a bumper sticker in my office that says, "Live so the minister won't have to lie at your funeral," And I feel like I don't have to do that today. I don't have to make up anything that's not true. You all know Makenna so well, and however you do her, as your family or friend, your lives will be just that much richer and full. If we were going to a cemetery, you'd see tombstones and markers, and they all have the same information. A person's name matters most is how you lived, how you loved, and how you spent your dash. Well, it sounds like Makenna spent her dash well. In my 42 years of being a pastor, it seems like some people, they leave this life way too late. I visit them and they say to me, "Oh, Pastor Mark, why won't God take me? I lay here day after day and month after month and year after year, and I just want to go. I just want to pass." And some people seem to go just at the right time, just before a time of pain and sorrow sets in. And then some people seem to go too soon. And I'm sure that's how all of you today feel with Makenna, that she left you way too soon. But I'm not going to quote a lot of Bible verses, but there's an idea that where Makenna is, one day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is like a day. Can you imagine a place where there's no time? I'm sure you can. And that's what I like to think of for Makenna. You know, you said she was very artistic, but her greatest creation really was her life. She was born on a Monday. I'm sure you remember that Monday. Both you and Stephen, March 17th, 2008, gave her 14 years, 8 months, and 2 days to paint on the canvas of this world in your hearts her life and dreams. And when you do tell stories, sit around and share memories, you lift up that masterpiece that she created, but frame it in grace and then hang it in your hearts and look at it often. That's exactly 5,360 days. Think of it. And today you sit in the benedictions her life have cast. You know, I would imagine if Makenna was here, she might say something like this. This is another poem. There's so many poems, and I don't usually read a lot of poems, but I do like this one for Makenna. It says, don't stand by my grave and weep. I'm not there. I do not sleep. I'm 1,000 winds that blow. I'm the diamond glints on snow. I am the sunlight on the ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning hush, I am the swift uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Don't stand at my grave and cry. I am not there, and I did not die. Well, I hope you can feel that sense of sustaining life long after we leave this earth. And for each of you who know and love Makenna, those memories will always be your strength. We say we thought of you with love today, Makenna, but that's nothing new. We thought about you yesterday, days before that too. We will think of you in silence and often speak your name. Now we have our memories and your picture in a frame. Our memories are our keepsake with which we'll never part. God has you in God's keeping. We have you in our hearts. And I know God is defined by many different ways by everyone here, but I hope that we can, agree that our hope for Makenna is that she is in a good place and a happy place, a place of contentment, a place of joy and happy reunion with those who have gone before. So with that said, I would like, what other poem? I like this. Now, this might be too frilly for Makenna. I don't know. But after hearing what you shared, she might not like this poem, but I like it, but I picked it to read. It said, I'd like the memory of me to be a happy one. I'd like to leave an afterglow of smiles when my life is done. I'd like to leave an echo whispering softly down the ways of happy times, laughing times, and bright and sunny days. I'd like the tears of those who grieve to dry before the sun of happy memories that I leave behind when my life is done. Well, I certainly, as I was sitting looking at all those photographs, those beautiful photographs of that little girl, she certainly brightened my heart, and those are the memories that I will take with me. But they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, so you're about to hear a library. We're going to play some music for you, but it's not the kind of music you can buy at the music store right now. It's Makenna herself singing, and I'm going to ask you to go through that garden of memories in your heart and look back at these wonderful times and just listen to her voice. commend you into the hearts of all those who know and love you. May you rest in peace this day and forevermore. Amen. Well, thank you for being here and sharing about Makenna, not about Makenna, but sharing Makenna's life with you. Patrick, do you have any instructions for us?
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your attendance and support for the